Good evening and many thanks for joining us. This is QTV Nightly News and I am Ansmana Nyasi. Here are the main news headlines. But first, be reminded you can also join us on Q Radio on 103.3 FM. Following weeks of speculation about whether it would proceed, hundreds of concerned citizens joined Gambians Against Looted Assets Gala in a protest on Wednesday, denouncing alleged bad governance and unchecked corruption in the Gambia. The Women's Association for Victims Empowerment WAVE on Tuesday commemorated the 20th anniversary of the 22nd of July 2005 killings of 64 West African migrants in the Gambia. And the Gambia's Ministry of Health on Tuesday confirmed the detection of a Mpox case in the Gambia, marking the country's first recorded case since the global surge in 2024. Communications officers from across ECOWAS institutions, specialized agencies and national offices are meeting in Banjul for a high-level retreat on Tuesday. The Gambia's Registister General Abdullahi Koli appeared before the National Assembly's Special Select Committee on Wednesday to respond to questions concerning the list of properties belonging to former President Yahya Jammeh. Stay tuned as we bring you more of these and other stories. Now here's the news in detail. Now, following weeks of speculation about whether it would proceed, hundreds of concerned citizens joined Gambians Against Looted Assets Gala in a protest on Wednesday, denouncing alleged bad governance and unchecked corruption. As Usman Jatta reports, the demonstration began at Iceman Junction in Canifing and ended at the Youth Monument in Westville.
Gambians Against Looted Assets Gala have returned to the streets, this time rallying against what they described as widespread and unaddressed corruption and bad governance. The protests address a broad range of issues, from the Russian oil scandal and the acute kidney injury (AKI) crisis to alleged corruption within the Gambia Football Federation (GFF), the Gambia Petroleum Company (GNPC), and the Office of the President. Citizens from all walks of life, including civil society members and politicians from across the political divide, took part in the protest, many carrying placards calling for transparency and accountability. For protesters like Mansour Dabo, Mr. Nyasi and Mariama Bojang, the demonstration was a plea for urgent government reform and justice on a personal level.
We stand here as concerned citizens to hold our government accountable of corruption, mismanagement of public funds, embezzlement.
There are so many corruption scandals in this country that have been brushed under the carpet.
I'm fighting for justice to free our lands in Sukuta Saladi.
Gala's protest movement initially began following the release of media outlet The Republic's report on alleged illegal sale and disposal of assets belonging to former President Yahya Jammeh.
I agree.
Since then, Gala has been demanding full public disclosure of recovered assets, a televised presidential address, and a formal investigation by the National Assembly, demands which have all been met. Many see the protest as a reflection of the growing civic consciousness and democratic engagement in the Gambia, which has emerged since 2017. Prominent voices such as activist Madi Jobate, Honorable Modulamin Biba, the NAM for Banjul North, also joined the protest.
Government should come to advise itself to realize that the path on which it is, they have to stop and reverse.
I think this is one step ahead, and this is towards progress. And I also want to urge the government to listen to these young people.
Gala today filed several formal petitions addressed to the Office of the President, the Gambia National Petroleum Company (GNPC), the Gambia Football Federation (GFF), and the National Assembly. Upon receiving Gala's petition, Honorable Ablai Sise, NAM for Olyundum, assured the public that the National Assembly will fulfill its oversight responsibilities in the interest of the people.
Sometimes it's not always as easy as we think, but we will make sure we do the right thing as far as the public wanted us to act.
Kek Sane, a member of Gala, praised the success of the protest.
We are proud that government officials from the highest authority, that's the Ministry of Justice, who is the Solicitor General, and the legal advisor of the government comes and receives the petition of Gala means a lot to us.
What is the time frame given to them to respond back to you?
It's 90 days that we give to them to respond to it, and failure to do, we are coming to the street again.
Beyond the political messages, the protest also offered a moment of solidarity as citizens of varied interests and backgrounds shared the challenges they faced. Osman Jata, QTV News.
Now, the Women's Association for Victims Empowerment, WAVE, on Tuesday commemorated the 20th anniversary of the 22nd July 2005 killings of 64 West African migrants in the Gambia. As we hear in this report, victims at the event renewed calls for justice and reparations. What began as a hopeful escape, young men chasing the promise of a better life in distant Europe, soon spiraled into an unspeakable nightmare. Innocent souls mistaken for mercenaries were haunted like ghosts, tortured in silence, vanishing into the shadows through brutal extrajudicial killings. No justice, no farewell. Since that horrific July in 2005, when their parents' lives were violently stolen by ex-President Jammeh's deadly hit squad known as the Junglers, Isaac and Cornelia returned to what for them is the sorrow-stained source of Banjul. The last place their parents, Peter Mensah and Kweku Ajekum, were seen alive. Each step they take on the beach echoes the last breath of their parents, along with 52 other West African migrants whose dreams were buried with them. For Isaac and Cornelia, this quiet stretch of sand is not a place of beauty, but a graveyard of memories where pain walks hand in hand with love. It has been 20 years of anguish and pain, having to navigate life without their fathers. Isaac and Cornelia are in the Gambia on the invitation of the Women's Association for Victims Empowerment, WAVE, to commemorate the 20th anniversary of their parents' killing and enforced disappearance. Along with Adama Conte, widow of Lamin Tunkara, the only known Gambian who was killed along with the West African migrants, they joined other victims at Banjul Beach as religious leaders from various faiths prayed for their loved ones.
They killed our relatives, and now as we are talking with you, they are no more. But he is alive, enjoying. But we are going through pain, going through the psychological trauma. He's not bearing with us. You know what we've been through?
When my father was going, I was 10 years old. So I asked my mom, my father was not coming. Where is my father? So one day my mom told me that my father is dead.
My late husband's death has had a devastating impact on my family. I was 7 months pregnant with our daughter when he was killed. Since then, life has never been the same again.
Their demand for justice, accountability, and reparations echoes the recommendations of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Yet, with little progress made since the TRRC submitted its final report to the government, victims like Isaac, Cornelia, and Adama continue to urge authorities to prosecute those responsible for the heinous crimes and to provide long overdue reparations. For the past 20 years, these victims have known only pain and suffering. On the 20th anniversary of the tragic incident, they marched in solemn silence from Banjul Beach to the Ministry of Justice and the National Assembly, where petitions calling for justice and reparations were delivered. Aji Adam Sise, Director Curator of Interstate Estates at the Ministry of Justice, and Honorable Madi M.K. Sise, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Human Rights, expressed sympathy and reaffirmed the government's commitment to implementing the TRRC's recommendations.
We rest assured that the government have heard your concerns. And as a nation and as a government, this is something that we all committed to, and we will see justice at the end of the day.
The space that they are going is very slow, so we must not leave it to government alone, but all of us should get up and really speak out so that justice can be served as quickly as possible.
Priscilla Yagosise, Senior Technical Advisor at WAVE, emphasized the symbolic and historic significance of the commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the unlawful killing of the West African migrants and joins the calls for justice.
Of victims who, over the years, during the former regime, had been killed, disappeared, subjected to different types of violations.
Away from the grief, the day's events concluded with victims gathering to listen to songs of praise, honoring their late loved ones' lives that were violently and unjustly taken. It was a moment of solace and reflection, offering brief relief as they continue their long, painful journey in pursuit of accountability, an elusive promise that has remained unfulfilled since July 2005. On the second day of these commemorations, WAVE, together with family members of the victims, on Wednesday paid a visit to the Gambia Reparations Commission. The delegation sought to engage the Commission on the status of justice and reparations efforts and formally submitted a petition demanding accountability and financial redress for the victims' families. Answane Sonyase for KTV News. And the Gambia's Ministry of Health on Tuesday confirmed the detection of an Mpox case in the Gambia, marking the country's first recorded case since the global surge in 2024. Health authorities are urging calm, emphasizing that the situation is under control. Alusise spoke to the Director of Health Services, Dr. Mamadou T. Nyasi, and Hina reports.
The ministry says the case was identified through routine surveillance on July 18, 2025. Following global alerts by the World Health Organization and the Africa CDC last year, the Gambia had heightened surveillance and response system in anticipation of such cases. Dr. Mamadou T. Nyasi, the Director of Health Services, tells QTV that the infected individual is stable, receiving treatment and being closely monitored.
The rashes and the blisters have healed, and the skin has new skin have started developing, meaning that she is not contagious. That's why she is on self-isolation to make sure that nobody get infected, so that we continue the surveillance to strengthen our surveillance system so that nobody is affected within the community and the compound she's living.
So what has been the immediate measures taken by the ministry since the confirmation of this first case?
We have intensified our surveillance system to make sure that we only have one. We don't want any other cases to be recorded. That is our hope. That's why if you look at what we have done, what we've been doing so far, all our health workers, frontline workers, our point of entries at the borders have intensified their surveillance. Though they have been doing it before, but now we are doing it at 24 hours to make sure that we will not have another one.
Mpox is a viral disease transmitted through close contact with infected persons, bodily fluids, or contaminated objects. Symptoms include fever, rashes, and fatigue. Dr. Nyasi urges the public to immediately report suspected cases, avoid contact, and adhere to medical guidance.
So what we are advocating for people is to do self-examinations. And some of the symptoms is you can easily find is rashes, blisters, and you can have a symptom of flu-like symptoms. You can have sore throats, and some of the guys you can even have blisters up to the private area, the anal area, the genital areas. Those are early symptoms that you can detect. And once you have these symptoms, don't wait for people to tell you. You have to report immediately to the health facilities to help you.
By way of contrast, by the 16th of June 2025, Sierra Leone had confirmed 25 deaths and more than 4,085 confirmed Mpox infections over a period of 1 month, accounting for more than half of all new infections for Africa. Dr. Nyasi assured the public of ongoing monitoring and response measures in the Gambia. For more information or to report suspected cases, citizens are urged to call the toll-free number 1025, which is the same for all GSM operators. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alusise.
And the report there by Alusise will lead us to the commercial break, but when we return, we have more national and international news. Do stay tuned.
At Ajib Bank, we are more than banking. We build bridges that connect you to pivotal services every day. Do you have government bills to pay to the Gambia Revenue Authority, Comfort, KMC, or the Accountant General's Department? We've got you covered. From payment of customs and domestic taxes to GRA, payment of number plate and vehicle ownership transfer to Comfort, payment of property rates and business license fee to KMC, and payment of MR passport, business registration, fishing license, land fees, sale of assets, lease application, development permits, quarrying royalties, gravel and sand, mining royalties, and a host of other revenue lines to the Accountant General's Department. walk into any of our branches nationwide and make your payments hassle-free. Either in person or online, simple, secure, and immediate. With Ajib Bank, there is no need to worry about government bill payments for your vehicles, taxes, licenses, business registration, and any other revenue line. Ajib Bank, passionate about your investment. We've got you covered. Ajib Bank, your investment partner.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taam place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal ne fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saasi añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal baara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taam gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër baara warga bii mooy warga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma mënee ataaya moom rek lay naan.
Welcome back following the commercial break. Now, communications officers from across ECOWAS institutions, specialized agencies and national offices are meeting in Banjul for a high-level retreat. The goal is to assess achievements, identify challenges and chart a new way forward through more effective and strategic communication. Alusi say again.
The retreat is expected to serve as a roadmap that will define ECOWAS's priorities, sharpen its messaging and identify the most impactful channels to engage diverse audience across West Africa during some of the most challenging times in the bloc's history. Abdul Koli, Director of Cabinet to the President of the ECOWAS Commission, says communication is a central pillar to governance and development, adding that the retreat marks a major milestone in the collective journey to rise to the task of dealing with misinformation and disinformation.
We must evolve from reactive to proactive communication, and we must ensure that our voices are not only heard, but trusted, valued, and followed. As we embark on this process, let us do so with the spirit of partnership, curiosity, and ambition. I urge all of us to contribute openly, think boldly, and collaborate actively. Your voices matter. Your insights are essential, and your dedication is the engine that will drive the success of this endeavor.
Through expert-led sessions on strategic communication, crisis messaging, social media, storytelling, and analytics, this retreat aims to sharpen the skills of these participants with the tools needed to operate in a fast-evolving information landscape. Klaus Bosset, German ambassador to the Gambia, whose government, through GIZ, is supporting this retreat, and Miata Lily French, ECOWAS resident representative in the Gambia, welcomed the retreat as timely and apt.
Today's communication is not simply about information dissemination. It is about building trust, managing narratives, and positioning ECOWAS as a responsive, transparent, and citizen-oriented regional organization. Ladies and gentlemen, what I learned about public communication was it's not just preaching to the choir. It's about being in a dialogue with the public.
The ECOWAS Commission, as the executive organ of our community, continues to steer the development of policies, programs, and interventions that shape political stability, economic growth, and social transformation across West Africa. Yet we must ask ourselves, how do we ensure that the impact of our work is felt and understood and embraced by the people we serve? That answer lies in one powerful word: communication.
This retreat also offers the opportunity to take stock nearly 25 years after the adoption of the ECOWAS Information and Communication Policy in 2000. This retreat also forms part of activities leading up to the maiden ECOWAS Journalism Awards to be hosted in the Gambia on Friday, the 25th of July. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Now, the Gambia's Registister General Abdullahi Koli appeared before the National Assembly Special Select Committee on Wednesday to respond to questions concerning the list of properties belonging to former President Yahya Jammeh. Loliam Kamara tells us more.
During his testimony, the Registrar General also gave an overview of his office's functions, including in relation to the compilation of the list of ex-President Jammeh's properties.
In fact, the first list stops at 107, the others are not listed.
Yes.
I mean, they just mention, so I cannot tell the exact number. And accounts, bank accounts. Project and school accounts operated and controlled by the former president. Foundation accounts, also accounts, dollar accounts, accounts with Sky Bank, dollar account, euro account, account with GTB, account with Zenith. The list goes on.
The committee also questioned the Registrar General about how correspondence and memos from the Jammeh Commission were handled during his tenure.
Very well. Mr. Koli, do you know why you're saying that no correspondences were ever sent to you, and you also decided not to offer any help?
No, not during this period, yeah.
Yes. Do you know why this was the case? Why you were never involved, even though the High Court specifically stated that your department was supposed to hold custody and control of these assets?
I cannot tell. I don't know why. I don't know why. But that was the right thing to be done. Since
what was the right thing to be done?
Like things being handed over to me as acting Registrar General.
Thank you.
That was not done.
The late counsel further asked whether the Jammeh Commission had ever requested the cancellation of a title deed, and if so, what actions the Registrar General took.
What we do is just the same thing, just cross-reference against the registered property, just say cancel via or by virtue of letter reference number, and we reply to that effect to say effective, the property is cancelled.
Mr. Koli was also asked about a particular property that was forfeited to the state.
When landed property is forfeited to the state, who does it become vested in?
The state government.
But it should be a specific department of state, isn't it?
Yes, of course, it's the state. There's a ministry responsible for those land administration.
And which, can you just state for the record, which ministry?
Ministry of Local Government and Lands. Yeah.
The Special Select Committee was established by the National Assembly to investigate the sale and disposal of assets identified by the Jammeh Commission following allegations that this had not been done in a transparent or proper manner. As such, its mandate includes assessing how these assets were recovered, managed, sold, or otherwise disposed of. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara.
The Gambia Press Union, the Ministry of Environment and the West Africa Coastal Areas Management Program, WACA, commenced 5 days training to strengthen journalist capacity in environmental and disaster reporting, focusing rather on urgent challenges facing communities along the Kotu stream. Julenjai attended the training in Katong and Sina reports.
As flood risk, poor drainage, and environmental decline threaten communities across the Gambia, a new initiative supported by the WACA project and led by the Gambia Press Union and partners is training journalists to report these issues with greater accuracy, blending scientific insight with human impact. Aissatou Keita, president of the Gambia Press Union, emphasized the timeliness of the training, as journalists play a key role in shaping public understanding of issues affecting lives and livelihoods.
When we tell stories, the stories that we tell is about people. We have our obligation and duty for us to be able to report and represent people better. But if the stories that we tell don't represent the people and the communities, it's like we are not even telling stories at all.
The Kotu stream spans 11 kilometers from Nemakunku to the Atlantic, supporting over 200,000 people, but suffers from flooding, poor drainage, and pollution. With $45 million in funding from the World Bank, The Waka project is working to restore the stream by cleaning it, upgrading drainage systems, supporting women-led recycling initiatives, and creating greener, safer public spaces. Aisha Davis Ann, Director of Information at the Ministry of Information, underscores the role of an informed and proactive media as environmental disasters become more frequent and the effects of climate change intensify.
The government's effort will only be fully effective if supported by an informed and involved media, that is, building trust, encouraging direct communication, and creating strong channels for information sharing are all made possible by this training.
Haruna Cham, Social Development Specialist for the Waka Project, highlighted that the 2022 floods caused extensive damage with millions in economic losses to the country.
We also know that policies and strategies alone are not enough. Implementation requires resources. That is why Waka is also funded the development of the Gambia's first disaster risk financing regulations.
Ibrahim Koli is the principal planner at the Ministry of Environment.
We also recognize that objective reporting on environment and disaster risk issues can help people stay ahead of time in the period of disaster.
After the workshop, participants will join a mentorship program to produce at least 15 in-depth stories, many highlighting life along the Kotu stream. For QTV News, I am Julde Njai.
And I'm afraid this is where we draw the curtains on this bulletin. But do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, thanks for watching.